Rich DeMuro here, Rich on Tech, taking a look at the brand new OnePlus 9 Pro 5G smartphone. This is in the morning mist color, which you can see it kind of has this nice little gradient from, I don't know, silvery color, but it does look really cool, but as you can tell, it is a fingerprint magnet. I think this might be the most fingerprinty phone I've ever handled in my life, but you do get a great looking back on this thing, even if you just have to wipe it off on your pants pocket all the time just to make it look a little fresher. But there you go. You've got that big camera setup in the back with the new Hasselblad partnership. And on the front, you've got more fingerprints. So let me clean that off. This is a 6.7 inch screen. And so there you have it. I love the feel of this phone in the hand. It feels perfect. The screen edges are not as rounded as they were on the previous model. They're still rounded, but definitely you don't touch the screen edge as much as you would with the old model. So you're not gonna get as many misfires as you would on the previous OnePlus 8 Pro, which actually turned out to be really kind of annoying when it came to the sides and exactly how curved they were. So again, you've got this 3-year partnership with Hasselblad. Right now, it's mostly for sort of fine tuning what they've got inside here. So they're not working on hardware with them just yet. It's all kind of like software tuning. And then in later models of these phones, they'll come out with more hardware that they'll work on together. So this is a 3-year plan. So I'm guessing next year's phone will have kind of like maybe a lens that they worked on with them. But right now it's mostly working on the color, and they call it natural color, which is, you know, it's kind of like, again, Samsung, everything comes out looking Instagram ready. This comes out just not as bright and vibrant, which personally, I'm sure a lot of people like. I kind of prefer the more vibrant look, but anyway, we'll get into the pictures in a moment. First, let's just get into the camera. So this is your top lens. That's your ultra wide lens, a 50 megapixel sensor, and you've got your middle, which is your main sensor. It's also supposed to be a pretty large sensor. That's 48 megapixels. This is your monochrome lens, and then this is your telephoto lens, which is 3.3 optical, 30 digital. It's kind of a tiny little lens for that telephoto. So then you've got autofocus, you've got your flash, and you've got a microphone. So pretty prominent microphone, which is good for recording videos, which is nice. Now, you've got a 16 megapixel front-facing camera right there in the corner. And they say that low light is improved with video. So, you know, okay, let's talk about the camera for just a little bit. So OnePlus always talks a big game when it comes to the cameras and how improved they are. And I think that the OnePlus 8 Pro was nice. I think that this one is nice, but again, it's not as reliable as I'd like, you know? Sometimes you get a really nice picture, other times you get a picture that just isn't that great. And you can see the fingerprints just really piling up here. Let me go into this gallery here. So like, for instance, this picture I think looks really nice. I mean, it's like super crystal clear. It's got a nice portrait mode to it. So everything looks really nice there. This picture is good, but if you zoom in, you don't really see a lot of details. It's like, you know, the lighting is kind of like all over the place when it comes to the shadows. This I'd say is a perfectly fine picture. It looks good. Bright light, it looks really nice. This picture, it's just okay. You know, it's a front-facing picture and not the best light. It's just fine. This, I was playing with the whole focus enhancer thing. So it basically does what Samsung does, where it switches to like the macro lens to take some close-up pictures so that you don't get fringing around the corners. And it's fine, but I found that the pictures I took on the iPhone and the other phone looked a little bit better. Now, here's where you can really see some of that issue with the main lens. And when you get kind of in this area that's kind of a tricky spot for these large sensor phones. So you can see here it looks just okay, but when you zoom in, you can really see that it's just very, very fringy on the sides here. And so it's just not a very clear picture, but I forced this into the mode where it took it with the main sensor and not the focus enhancer mode. I forget what they call it, I guess macro mode. So here you can see it again. It's a nice cupcake. It looks nice until you zoom in and you realize only like this part is in focus and the rest is all sort of out of focus. So again, you have to use that focus mode, some food, and again, the colors are just kind of like blah. I mean, it's just like the orange and the carrots are just, it doesn't look very appealing. Nothing is very exciting. It's all kind of muted, which maybe it's the natural colors, I don't know. I tried another night here with a different pasta meal, and again, you know, the colors just don't really pop. It's kind of like just like a blah, boring picture. It's not that nice. Now, this was an overcast day with this flower. Again, doesn't really pop. And you can see a lot of the problems with the focus here on the edges. Now this I thought was a perfect picture. This was in Santa Barbara, and I thought this picture came out just perfect. I took it on the ultra wide. It's clear, I mean, super, super clear, crisp. I think everything looked great in this picture. You know, some people might have a problem with the way that arch is, but I think it looks perfect. And so there is an example where it just nailed it and did a great job. So again, I find it a little hit or miss. I do think that they kind of improved their cameras over time. I think this is gonna be a fine camera for everyday use. But again, it's not as solid as say like the iPhone where every shot is pretty much perfect, or something like the Pixel where every shot is pretty much perfect. Now the battery is really where this thing shines. So this has got a 4,500 milliamp battery in it and Warp Charge 65, which is literally the fastest I've ever seen a phone charge in my entire life. I'm just gonna wipe this off just for a second so we can start with a cleaner phone here. So let me plug this in and just show you they've got this great animation now for this phone when it charges. Why can't I plug this in? There we go. So there it goes. It's got this warp charge and it's so fast, it even gives you like a little percentage while it's charging. So can I get that? Can I get more of that? Let's see. I just love to see that animation because it's just 91.02, 0.03. So this is Warp Charge 65T, full charge in 29 minutes, which is 9 minutes faster than last year. And look at this, it tells you less than 9 minutes remaining. I mean, this thing is so fast. You will never have to worry about charging, because even if you have just a couple minutes before you run out the door, you plug it in for 5 minutes and you're gonna be totally fine. There is reverse charging on here as well. This is, it comes in two variants. You've got the 128 gigs of storage with 8 gigs of RAM, or 256 with 12 gigs of RAM. And now there's a couple things that I have a problem with. Number one, 5G. So this is on, let's see, what is this on? This is on Mint, and you do get 5G through Mint. I don't know if it'll come up where I live, but oh yeah, there it is. So 5G. Now, if you're on Verizon or AT&T, from what I'm being told, there's no 5G support there. Even though this has all the bands you need for 5G on those carriers. It's got like 19 bands of 5G. It's just, I don't know if they're playing hardball with OnePlus or what. Or maybe it'll come later on with some more support, but right now you'll only get 4G on the OnePlus 9 Pro 5G with AT&T and Verizon. But on T-Mobile, you will get full 5G support. I don't know why that is, just the way it is. It's very disappointing though to get 4G in this day and age with the two biggest carriers in America. Or I don't know if they're the two biggest, but they're pretty big. I mean, there's only 3 at this point. The other thing is that only the ones sold through T-Mobile will be designated IP68. Now, I have a feeling, even though this is the unlocked model, that it's still IP68. It's just not certified. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't think they're gonna make a separate version of the phone that is not, you know, that's not waterproof or water resistant, and then the T-Mobile one is going to be. So I think that's just something they have to say. Pricing, $969 for the 128 gigabyte version, and then $1,069 for the 256 gigabyte version. And sales open on April 2nd. But again, I mean, this is the kind of phone that is just, it's loaded with features when it comes to, I mean, this is one of my favorite operating systems. The Oxygen, just the way it looks, how smooth it is. You know, this thing on the side, this little slider for your notifications. Just little things like this where it tells you how much, you know, data you've used. Everything is customizable. I mean, seriously, it's such a fantastic phone. And, you know, I told OnePlus, I'm still waiting for the phone that makes me want to switch from, say, you know, a Samsung device or an iPhone or a Pixel. And it's got everything you need. The Snapdragon processor, the RAM, the ROM, the cameras, the fluid, 120 hertz screen. I mean, the software, it's just all so good. It's just the only little tiny thing is the camera is good. And I think that this is probably one of their best, but I do think it's a little bit hit or miss sometimes. And you can see when I go into that super macro mode. So if I have, let's see if I can show you how that works here. So if I'm taking a regular picture and I go here, see it kind of snaps. So it snaps into, if I'm really close, it's just, now it goes into that super macro mode. So you can take a more clear picture. So anyway, I mean, I think this is a really nice phone. I think that it's troubling that the two biggest carriers, it's really a non-starter for most people because of the 5G situation. Hopefully that will change. I don't really know. But otherwise, that's a quick look at the OnePlus 9 Pro 5G. If you have any questions about it, leave them in the comments. I've been using this for a bit now, and again, feels great in the hand. It's got the software going on. It's got all the features you need. And I think the camera is going to be perfectly fine 99.9% of the time. I think there are just a couple of missteps here and there where some other pictures might look a little bit better. But overall, it's a really nice device at a pretty good price. So there you have it. All right, thanks for taking a look at the OnePlus 9 Pro 5G. I'm Rich DeMuro, richontech.tv. Take care.